Hello, in this video we will discuss about the leptin. So the leptin is the endocrine hormone which that is released from the gastrointestinal tract. So what is leptin? Leptin is used for the balance between your body, food intake and energy use expenditure. Leptin helps prevent hunger and regulate energy balance so that your body does not trigger a hunger response when it does not need energy. So during the fat state, when we will fill the stomach after food intake, so the leptin will produce for the decrease of the hunger, for the decrease of the ghrelin hormone. So we will not go into the inhibition of ghrelin, but you can understand just the ghrelin will be inhibit while the leptin will increase, will lead to fulfillment of the digestive system and relaxation due to the parasympathetic nervous system activation for lead to rest and digest. So this is a person which that when food intake will fill the stomach and the stomach will stretching of the wall of the stomach will produce the hormone is known as leptin. Leptin is also produced from the adipose tissue. We will also learn about that. So this is the brain which that contain hypothalamus and pituitary gland. So remember here is the stomach which that is intake of food where stretching will lead to enterocytes. The enteroendocrine cells will produce the leptin. So leptin will produce from here. So this is the blood circulatory system where nutrient will be enter. Leptin is also enter. Entry of leptin will also immune function and give the signal to the brain for several function. Let's begin to understand. This is the food intake will be inhibit because we will feel the less appetite and we feel the relaxation. And when leptin will decrease, the food intake will be increased. And here the hormone regulation through hypothalamus which that will release the growth hormone and other hormone due to the triggering of the hypothalamus lead to pituitary gland production of hormone, while this is the hypothalamus which that is regulation of hunger. So this is the energy ATP expenditure on the basis of the food intake. When food will be intake, so the energy will be used, while the when will inhibit, so the ghrelin will balance the food, balance the energy expenditure. So this is the adipose tissue. The white adipose tissue, the fat deposit into the adipocytes will be lipogenesis, and in this way the glucose fat will be enter through a glut transporter channel after the binding with the insulin from pancreas. Will it means the insulin will release due to the leptin, and in this way the glucose will be entry into the adipose tissue. Adipocytes will convert into the triacylglycerol as a storage of fat, and after the storage of fat the leptin will produce in this response, and leptin will target to the brain. Let's begin to understand when target to the brain. So this is the leptin will target to the brain. After the targeting to the brain, leptin will inhibit the food intake and adrenal corticosteroid will be inhibited. In this way, what that means, adrenal corticosteroid hormone inhibition. Inhibition mean the parasympathetic nervous system will be activated while the adrenal corticosteroid stimulation will lead to sympathetic nervous system activation. So inhibition of sympathetic nervous system activation, fight and flight response, while the brain will lead to trigger the growth, energy expenditure, glycemic control, and reproduction. So this is the adipose tissue and produce leptin. In this case, the leptin will enter into the blood circulatory system, will lead to several function to the several targeting tissue. For example, the heart and cardiovascular system. In this way, the atherosclerosis can be possible and angiogenesis will be occur, the formation of blood vessel and oxidative stress also. So when we will inhibit the food intake during the fasted state, oxidative stress will be inhibited. So in this way the cell survival and growth of the cell will be increased, and in this way the cancerous activity will be increased. While in the case of reproduction, the placental function, trophoblast invasion, fetal function, and gonadotrophin and gonadal hormone will be stimulated. While in the case of bone, if let's begin to understand the bone and cartilage, so the regulation of bone mass, rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis, nitric oxide and chondrocytes, which that will be stimulated. And immune system modulation we will discuss. Let's begin to understand also. So first of all, here is the bone cartilage, which that regulation of bone mass. In this case, when we will intake food, the deposition of calcium and phosphate into the bone will be enhanced. So we will just understand the generally, not going to detail. So the rheumatoid arthritis can be possible, and osteoarthritis and nitric oxide and chondrocyte. So the immune cell modulation means the cytokine production due to the inflammation, due to the intake of food more. Chemotaxis. Chemotaxis means the movement of immune cell toward the inflammation site. And when we will intake food during the lining of gastrointestinal tract, the immune system will be moved due to the production of cytokines and macrophage activation, increase of maturation and survival of thymic T cell, increase of interleukin 2, and naive T cell proliferation, and dendritic cell activation. A natural killer cell, natural killer cytotoxicity, and T helper 1 stimulation and T helper 2 inhibition. This is the function of immune system modulation. While in the case of other targets of the tissue and gland, other are target to the organs and tissue. So here is the kidney. When this target to the kidney, it means the uptake of the glucose from the nephron, while the pancreas will stimulate the insulin for the absorption of glucose, and muscle also activate the GLUT channel by binding of insulin will lead to influx of the glucose for fulfillment, and bowel movement will be less. So thanks for watching. Please make sure to subscribe, like and share. This was the leptin tutorial, so the fat state. So thanks for watching. Bye. Next video we will discuss another